Hey, this is Stephen Platinum, your friend in wrestling with Ask Platinum number 2. Got a message or a question from somebody who I assume is a wrestler wanting to remain anonymous, and I don't blame them. It says, "Hi, Steve. Realistically, how safe is it to be wrestling right now? Signed, COVID Clutch," which is funny. That is a great question, and it is sort of the question that should be looming on wrestlers' minds as things open up in Florida, Georgia, and beyond. So I went into research mode, consulted more than one person who I consider to be smart and learned about where to go for information, and one name kept coming up again and again and again: Aaron Bromage. So let me just extrapolate a couple things that Aaron Bromage has said, apply it to wrestling, and then I will leave it at that. Try to keep this thing short so people can listen to it and be informed. So Bromage, when asked about why are grocery stores, bike riders, and inconsiderate runners less of a concern when compared to sharing enclosed spaces like an office or a restaurant? So how do we extrapolate this? In other words, these shows that are running outdoors where there's a lot of space for the boys slash girls to interact with each other in an open space as opposed to being shuttled off into some kind of locker room, green room where they're all in close proximity to each other, is just totally different things, to crowds sitting there in buildings as opposed to outside, right? That's what we're talking about, because it comes down with COVID. And keep in mind, numbers in Georgia are going up. Please spare me your arguments about because they're testing more. Numbers are going up because we've opened up, and it's just a reality. It's just something that's happening. We can argue about how important those numbers are, but I think to deny the fact that more people are getting exposed and more people are getting sick is foolish. But we are opening up. So this is about me informing you of that. But get it out of your head that it's not a problem. Okay, it's a problem. So Bromage says it comes down to the concentration of the virus in the air and the length of exposure, right? In larger spaces with better ventilation or outdoors, the concentration of the virus can be diluted in the larger volume of air. All this makes sense, right? The lower the virus burden in the air, the longer you can be in that environment before receiving an infectious dose. So outdoor shows, I think for the most part, people should feel comfortable going to, assuming you're keeping social distancing up, right? And the quality of your barrier, by the way, of the mask that you have, I've seen the argument about it's pointless if you have this cloth thing. It's not pointless for limited interactions. It's certainly better than nothing at all, As states reopen, he is asked, Bromage, where can people go and where should they reconsider going? And Bromage says outright, people should go to any outdoor space with ample room for social distancing, such as beaches, parks, and trails. However, they should limit their time in outdoor spaces where social distancing can't be maintained most of the time, any crowded spot, such as the protests we have been seeing lately. And he's talking about this in terms of virus transmission, right? People should also limit how much time they spend in any indoor spaces with poor air exchange and lots of people with no effective ability to social distance. I hope when we reopen, none of these places will exist, and guidelines would have been put in place to stop it from occurring. I believe that almost every business can engineer their space to ensure that they limit numbers of people at one time to a number that is determined by air exchange and the size of their facility. And then there's other good bits of advice. Remind ourselves to wash our hands and to not touch our faces. This thing of we wipe down the ropes between every match, if that's all they're doing, it's a pointless, useless gesture. I'll just say it, right? I guess it's not pointless. It's better than nothing. But if you think you're picking up the COVID virus off of a rope that somebody else has bounced off of sometime before, it's just generally not going to happen that way. Of course, we should be cleaning things, right? We repeatedly remind ourselves to wash our hands and not touch our faces. If we go grocery shopping or hiking on a local trail, we wash our hands immediately after coming back to the house. We open packages in the garage. Okay, here's the part about the masks and different levels of concentration. We wear masks in public where we can't socially distance all the time. We have higher quality masks for environments where we linger, like the grocery store or work. We have lower quality masks for short interaction. We use a neck sleeve or t-shirt mask to pull up in places like a forest trail where we might have to pass within 6 feet of other people. So, outdoor shows are better. Indoor shows, where the air circulation isn't really happening, you're going to get a higher concentration of the virus potentially. If you're in a small, stuffy locker room or green room area with a bunch of other people, you're exposing yourself at a higher degree of risk. Outdoor shows, for the most part, are okay. And indoor shows are possible if you keep the crowd numbers really low and keep everybody apart as much as possible. I hope this helped answer your question, COVID clutch, and at least give some sort of logical guidelines to other people as well. If you are out there protesting, for example, you're around a bunch of other people and you should be masking up. If you are doing a wrestling show and people are determined to do them, I would really love it if wrestling people, especially people in charge, would quit pretending that this thing is not happening. I think it's stupid. It is happening, and you do have an obligation to be informed and protect people to the best of your ability. This isn't about just letter of the law stuff. This is about taking a responsible approach to things. Outdoor shows are safer than indoor shows. And indoor shows, you should be taking more precautions. And let's do more stuff that actually lowers your percentage chance of getting this, and not stuff that is just there for appearance or show. All right. This has been Ask Platinum number 2 from Stephen Platinum, your friend in wrestling.